What's up, guys? So, just want to talk about the Yankees lineup and just the roster itself. Do they have enough pieces to make a long run in the playoffs, a deep run in the playoffs? That's the question. And you let me know what you think. I think they have the roster to get into the playoffs. How far, I'm not sure. I think they can secure a wild card spot. I think it's going to be hard at this point to win the division with Tampa playing so well. But crazy things have happened, but I could see them securing a wild card spot. Now, I would much prefer they win the division because the matchups in the playoffs in the first rounds are a little bit better for the Yankees, or would be, if they won the division. Plus, they wouldn't have to play this extra pressure-packed one-game wild card where they would have to put Garrett Cole and they wouldn't be able to start game one of divisional round. So, even though Taillon is kind of pitching like a number 2 right now, I still wouldn't want to get in that situation. But it seems as if right now, winning a wild card spot is the best case scenario. Now, I would like to win the first one and not the second one, but that said, wild card spot's a wild card spot. They're going to have to play each other anyway, so what the hell's the difference? I think they have, the problem I have is, their lineup's deep enough, but they have not had an opportunity yet to click on all cylinders. And I've said this recently, and having a discussion with Derek Lewandowski, actually, on NYY Recaps, that, when some guys get hot, the other guys get cold. And then it flips, vice versa. And we haven't had a stretch where, we had Voit and Judge and Stanton and DJ and Torres and, all go hot at the same, and just go on a banger. Right? Go on a streak where they just rip off a bunch of wins and, basically create a murderer's row type lineup for, and it would be awesome if it happened at the end of September leading right into the postseason, but the chances of it happening are not good. It could be a combination of development and training and poor coaching. Gio's just suffered a hamstring strain. He's coming back from a hamstring strain, and he just had a setback in that. And they're calling it between the grade 1 and the grade 2 strain of his hammy, which is the muscle. A hamstring in the back of the leg is one of your push-off muscles, your primary push-off muscles. That and your glutes, your gluteus maximus, which is your butt muscles, to propel him forward. So he needs that to be healthy in order to accelerate, and in order to accelerate from a standing position at third base. So, hoping he comes back healthy, but chances are there's a very good chance that he's probably not going to come back until September. So, with that said, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm glad that Voit came back, and he's playing really well. But it was also coming back to replace Anthony Rizzo, who's on the IL as well. I would love for Gallo and Rizzo and Voit and all these guys, and Gio and Sanchez, all to be in the lineup together for a consistent period of time and just go on a tear. That, would make me more confident that the Yankees could win the division, right? And then you look at the rotation. You have Cole coming back at full strength. I would have Taillon at number 2, Montgomery at the 3, and then seeing what you have in after that. Whether Herman, we don't know what to get from Herman right now. If Luis Hill keeps pitching the way that he's pitching, he might be an option as well. And if Luis Severino comes back personally, and I've said this since the beginning of the season, I would have him go into the bullpen to be either a spot starter or a long relief guy, a guy who can throw 3 or 4 innings, because he has a tendency to dominate for 3 or 4 innings, and then he starts to get hit, and then he'll have one bad inning where he'll score up 5 runs. So, but if we can get 3 or 4 innings of absolute nasty, filthy darts out of him, that would be a great addition, a great weapon to the bullpen, especially if one of the starters has an off day or just stinks up the joint. You can bring in a Severino, and I would take Severino bullpen, over starting freaking Wandy Peralta in a game, or even if you started Severino for the first 3 or 4 innings and then moved on, that's another weapon that we haven't had in almost 2 years. And it looks like he's coming back nicely. He had a really good game through 4 shutout innings yesterday of no hit ball 2 days ago. And as long as he continues his trend and stays healthy, I think he could be a valuable weapon. I would avoid putting him in the rotation and having him jump right into 6-7 innings. I would not do that, particularly in the playoffs. But I don't know what, analytics and Boone and all them and the rest of them are going to say. But personally, I think his best spot would be, the Yankees would be best off having him in the bullpen and having these other guys. Even if you have a Luis Hill go out and throw a pitch, imagine having him pitch 4 or 5 innings and then you bring in a Severino. That's a nasty pairing, right there. That's a nasty combo. And then you can go right into the 8th or the 9th inning without having to use 5 or 6 guys, hopefully. So I think that kind of lineup with a Cole and a Taillon and Montgomery and even a Hill, and then you can even have Domingo Germán as long relief in a bullpen unless you're going to put him in the rotation, depending on how he comes back and depending on how Chapman comes back as well. He's on the IL with elbow inflammation. So, but the Yankees have enough, I think, to at the very least make the postseason. I think they've made that obvious now with the additions of Gallo and Rizzo. Adding patience and kind of versatility and working counts, even though he's still striking out a little bit too much, but he's at least working the counts and making pitchers throw more pitches. But I want to see how well these guys do when the other guys are clicking too, and I want to see them all clicking in a stretch together. And in order for me to really feel confident to say these guys could win the division, but they're still going to have to go on a tear at some point. There's less than 50 games left, and I don't expect the race to go on a slide the way the Red Sox are sliding right now. I just don't see it. And which leads me to conclude that the Yankees, I mean, right now, wild card is kind of the target. Offside that, obviously shooting for the division, but if you fall short, you at the very least get the wild card. So obviously be shooting to win the whole thing. And I think if they get into the playoffs and then they're healthy, and they've had these guys, if Gleyber Torres is back healthy and Voit and Rizzo, and if they figure out a way, even if you sat Stanton, in certain situations and had Voit in there, or rotated Voit and Stanton at the DH or whatnot to keep both of them healthy since they're both somewhat injury prone, it might be a way to do it. And you get an opportunity to give Rizzo a day break, or you have Rizzo at DH and Voit at first base. Like, you can rotate these guys a little bit, but I think Rizzo's a valuable piece. Hopefully he comes back healthy too and fully recovered from COVID. But I think in order to maximize their playoff potential, they all need to be in there. And you got to find a way to get Odor in there. You got to find a way to get Greg Allen in this lineup. I like Brett Gardner, but I think Greg Allen will be a much better matchup and a much better fit for the postseason in terms of his tangibles, the versatility he gives the lineup and everything. So he's Brett Gardner 10 years ago. You have to have Allen in there, in my opinion, and you have to have Luis Severino in there in the bullpen. So, and then I think the Yankees have a shot at the very least, maybe winning the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, and it's going to be tough if they don't win the division because the matchups are not as ideal for them, but they still have the weaponry. On paper, they have it. They just have to translate this paper to performance. And until they do that, I can't see them going very far. Again, they have the weapons. Let's see how they utilize it. I just hope they're not taking a BB gun, against a team with a bunch of bazookas. Like, can't do it. Just can't do it. So, you let me know what you think. Do they have enough to win? And how far do you think they can go? And what tweaks do you think they need to make? If it's not Hill or Severino or these guys, I mean, even at September call-ups, I would try some of these Oswald Peraza. Like, give these guys opportunities at the top if they're Gittins, Ambergy if he's back up, if he's healthy. Like, give these guys time and let the veterans recover a little bit, and let these guys play and see if somebody creates a spark and makes themselves, makes Boone and Cashman be like, these guys have to be in the playoff roster. Like, they have to be because of the way they're playing. So just let me know what you think. Are there any guys that you think should be definitely called up? And I think all those guys should be called up. I wish Hoyjon Park was still here, but now he's raking over in Pittsburgh. But it is what it is. But the guys like Peraza, even Volpe's still, a little bit at the lower level, but you never know. They might call him up for fun just to see. Give him a cup of coffee. I mean, they're going to be expanding the roster, I think, to 40, so they're going to have 14 new guys up here. So I would definitely give them a shot. At the very least, have Gittins up here and some of these other top guys, Hammergan, Estevan Florial, definitely Florial, and Allen. They have to be up here. So, but that's the only way I think I can see the Yankees maybe finding somebody or making a tweak that they might not have thought they would tweak before because of the veterans and whatnot. I think some youngsters can maybe push a veteran out, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. So you let me know what you guys think. Talk to you next time.